Hello, the heartfulness of being you. Heartfulness is a very different word, and being is also a different word to the one we actually see it as. When you are being you, there's so much to it. There's an expansiveness to it that we're not normally encouraged to take part in. And when you work with heartfulness, you are actually working with wholeness and you're working with acceptance, because that is what heartfulness is about. Accepting all of you, even the parts you don't like, and accepting all of the other person, even the parts you don't like. I didn't say you have to like them. I just said you have to release. I just am meaning that to release the to release the judgment of it is what makes it work. And it's when you are able to release that judgment, stop comparing, criticizing, and condemning, that you move away from living in your head and just begin living in your heart. When you start working with compassion, with caring, with resonance, how are you resonating with that person? What are you resonating with that person with, that you are able to move forward with acceptance and with heartfulness? Now, so many times, we may not like all parts of ourselves, and you know what, that's just all part of your personality. So my personality would say, get over it, let's see how we can live with it, let's see what we can do with it. Other people will journal and burn, others will sit and mope about it until they understand that when you accept responsibility for it and stop blaming others and stop looking at others, guess what, life becomes so much easier to heal it and to sort it out. Real heartfulness is when we accept ourselves as a spiritual being living in a physical world. Now, what does this have real term implications for us? Well, it brings about empathy. It brings in feelings. It allows us to feel what people are saying, feel beneath it, feel beneath their words. It enables us to feel beneath what we are saying as well, because what we might be saying may not be what we're feeling, and it goes exactly the same way with other people. And this allows us to tap into a much higher vibrational level of collective consciousness, which then helps us work in creativity and expansion rather than constriction. Where there's resonance, where there's a oneness involved, that is where you start to understand others. You start to understand what they are mirroring back to you, or what you are pushing through them, or what they're pushing through you. And it enables you to have compassion for both of you, to release that judgment and accept that, you know what, it's just an interesting point of view that they have that point of view. When we move from our mind to our heart, wow, it really changes things. It brings about an inspired action that is very, very powerful. Now, when I'm working with people, I have learned, especially people like myself that are spiritually inclined, more spiritually inclined, because everybody's spiritually inclined, because we're all a spirit in a body, I will get them to focus on the energy that Mother Earth is able to expand and bring up around their body, because it gets them out of their mind, away from their mind, into their heart, into the energetic spiritual side of life. And when we are able to do that, we are able to set our mind at ease. It's not that you're setting it at one side because it's part of you, you want to accept it. You need to know if the saber-toothed tiger of your boss or unexpected events is going to pop up behind you. However, the mind isolates, the mind is critical, the mind is divisive. Whereas when we work in our heart, we are working with constructive, supportive, creative awareness. And what this does is it enhances effective, understandable communication and brings a fusion, whereas the mind brings a separation. And when we have that separation, we're not fully together, because one part of us is there, one part of us is there, one part's here, one part's here, one part's here. Remember, you have three minds: your brain, your gut, and your heart. And when you work with them all together, with the heart leading, the heartfulness of who you are leading, that is actually when you are able to move forward much, much more effectively and be more yourself. And when you be more yourself, you are able to release judgment, you are able to get into creation, and you are able so that it's basically so that you can begin to live the life that you know you would like to, and create the income that you're looking to create, and it's so that you can have the relationships you desire, so that you can have the lifestyle that you would like, so that you can be power, you can be awareness, you can be creativity, you can be control, you can actually be money, and you be joy, and you be love. That is when the heart is leading the mind and the brain. Sometimes you have to let the gut and the mind lead when a hijacker is standing there with a gun. Although most times when you can work in heartfulness, you will come out of it far better to see. And do you know what? When we learn to accept ourselves through heartfulness, it just helps us to accept others, because we know it doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter what they're saying. We know who we are. So somebody can say, oh, you're made up of green cheese. And you go, that's an interesting point of view. I feel quite human, not cheesy. Although that was a bit cheesy. Okay. And it also helps us to see where our parts are shadow parts. It also helps us to stay grounded, people. Grounded in our heart, grounded in the earth, rather than running away from situations. If there's a saber-toothed tiger behind you, it might be a good time to run or hide or whatever. It also helps you to be open when someone is needing acknowledgement, when someone is offering you something that would help you create. When you're working in heartfulness, you are very much more open to the subtle clues, the underlying clues, the unspoken clues that will help you to be seen, will help you to be heard, will help that person to be seen and help that person to be heard. Because when you are both seen and heard, it has an expansive effect on what it is you are creating, what it is you're desiring, and who you are becoming. And that's the most important part of it. Heartfulness is when the heart eye sees what is required and helps you and helps the other person be willing to do what is necessary at that precise moment in time. It helps you to have awareness in the present, to have awareness of what being present helps with the future. And that is very, very important. Sometimes it's almost instinctual, and a lot of times you're working from a sense of altruism, and most times you are working in alignment with your purpose when you are working with heartfulness. Basically, it's here living in the present, learning from the experience, and being present in the present completely. Now remember, we are all part of a whole. We are all we connected to the trees. I'm connected to, okay, I'm sitting on this chair, but I'm also connected to it from an atomic and space and quantum physics perspective. And when we can accept that wholeness, we are far more able to live with heartfulness than before. We actually are then also able to bring ourselves into heartfulness. And it allows us to understand and to own a much deeper truth than our mind ever could, than our gut ever could. However, having said that, when we work with mindfulness, heartfulness, and our state of beingness, we actually are able to include our body more. We are able to feel what our body is telling us more, and we are able then to eliminate stress, because your shoulder twinges. You go, all right, whose burden am I taking on? What is my shoulder talking to me about? Your body brings you an awareness, as well as your heart, as well as your mind, as well as your gut. And it may not even be your awareness. And that is when you return to sender with consciousness, with love, and allow it to flow away from you. If you aren't present, if you aren't aware, you're not able to have that knowledge. And then you wind up with frozen shoulder, carpal tunnel syndrome, because all physical things actually stem from an emotional perspective. And when you step into heartfulness, it makes life work so much better. When you have heartfulness, you are able to perceive what your upper limit of knowledge is, and you are able to step forward into that as well. And it allows you to acknowledge that truth. It emphasizes your felt spirituality of understanding that actually you are no mind, no where, because you everywhere, no body, because you are part of a spirit that a piece of it is in your body, and you are no thing. It's not that you're nothing, you're no thing. And when you do that, you're able to tune into a much higher vibrational collective consciousness by being in the present. You can also tune into a lower one, however, that may not be what you want to choose. I don't know. I don't know what your contract is with yourself. However, it's when you understand that, yes, you are in this body. Yes, you are being who it is you wish to create, where you wish to go. However, you're also an expansive part of the universe. You are the universe in one composite form. You are an aspect of it, and that other person is another aspect of it. And together with everybody, you work together. I mean, I have my fingers, they're separate, and yet they work together. That is about the best. And we are attached to my arm, which is attached to my body. And yes, it's separate, but it's also joined. It's also part of it, and it works independently and interdependently with everything. That is the heartfulness of being. You look at your values, you look at your principles, you look at what is aligned with you, you look at where you can be aligned, and wow, what an incredible difference comes forward. Heartfulness allows us to see the process of life as a living dynamic, to work on our wholeness, and to be connected and interactive with everything and everyone in the universe, because that gives us inspired action. It helps us connect with our higher self so much more effectively and helps us move forward with much more effectivity. It allows us to release blame, expectations, and to own our own challenges, to own our own stuff, to release that blame game. It is nobody else's fault what happened to you. But Janine, the drunk driver, drove into me. Well, what in your awareness, what in your soul contract did you work towards with him? What was the lesson for everybody? Where are you there to help him learn a lesson? Where was he there to help you learn a lesson? Where can you apply the principle that everything is always working out for you? And the principle of using the phrase, how can life get any better than this? I know personally several instances where I've looked and I've gone, squeak, and I've immediately said, at that time I was saying, why do things always work out? Things are always working out for me. Why has good come from this? I don't even use it anymore. Why has good from this? And then I discovered that why sends us into a loop. You can still use it. So now I prefer using how can life get any better than this? Things are always working out for me, because things did work out beautifully. It brought better opportunities. It brought better awareness. It was just absolutely incredible how it worked. And we also discovered that my husband had a mindset shift that he required to make. And since he's made it, things have been so much more effective in that area of where the challenges were with that. And it also enables us, working in heartfulness enables us to work with our emotions, our thoughts, and our feelings in a very much more balanced way, because we're present, we are aware it's not just ourselves, and we are also aware that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, feels, or says about us. It doesn't matter that things don't work out the way we thought they should, would, or could, that we allowed in that they worked out even better than we could ever have visualized or done. And we allow flow and we allow transformation in our life. And that is the heartfulness of being. With heartfulness awareness, we work either with a shallow heart where we're ungrounded and things, I've got to have this, I've got to have that, I've got to have the next thing, and then you can't understand why you have more months than money. I'm not talking about people, that's a different thing. Deep heartfulness is where we work with an intention to create something better, to create more income. We work in the state of being. I be power, I be awareness, I be creativity, I be control, I be money, I be love, I be joy. And you choose to have that. You choose to feel the awareness. You choose to bring in the creativity through being filled in your heart with the knowledge of what is coming forward for you. Heartfulness awareness allows you to be, it allows your friends to be, and it literally, from a physiological point of view, it calms our limbic system, that little reptile system, it calms our emotional system, and it allows for body and brain integration. So instead of flying off the handle, your brain thinks, your heart feels, and your body copes so much better. Remember, perception is dependent on our emotional state. And when you are in heartfulness and you are in the state of being, that power, creativity, and awareness, control, money, joy, and love, guess what? You think more clearly. What heartful does for you is it allows you, it is so, when you come into heartfulness, it's so that you have more awareness, more clarity, more calm, more peace, more understanding, more caring, and more compassion. And this enables you to step forward in a far more inspired and aligned way. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.